I cannot face this world that's fallen down on me. So if you see my girl, please send her back to me.
You remember that time Tony Soprano was in a musical? You know, the one that was written and directed by the funny sex offender guy from The Big Lebowski and was financed by the Coen brothers? The one that had Janice, Tony Blundetto, Gyp Rossetti, the chick from Titanic, Academy Award winner Susan Sarandon, and the funny sounding guy from Pulp Fiction who put the watch up his ass, singing and dancing alongside him? Yeah, I'm still not convinced this isn't just some fever dream I had after mixing Ambien and Jack Daniels. Romance and Cigarettes is a 2005 musical romantic comedy. Written and directed by John Turturro, the film has an incredible cast, given its very weird and at times uncomfortable tone. The one we're obviously most interested in is James Gandolfini, who plays the main character. The movie was filmed in between seasons 5 and 6 of The Sopranos. Given that it stars so many Sopranos alumni, and the fact that the movie kinda resembles many elements from the show, I thought it'd be worth exploring this strange musical. Now, don't worry, this isn't a theory about how the film is secretly a part of the Sopranos universe or anything. I just wanted to give you all a look into the mind of madness. So, let's take a look at Romance and Cigarettes. Set in the early 1980s New York, the film follows Nick Murder. Yes, that's right. The character's name is Nick Murder. That's almost as believable as Mr. Williams.
Stupid fucking game.
Nick has been having an affair with a young redheaded woman. His wife, Kitty, also a redhead, finds out about it after finding a sex poem he wrote to his mistress. This causes a rift between Nick and Kitty and their extended family. Each of the characters goes through their own journey as they explore the meanings of love and sex, expressed through a series of musical numbers. Nick continues to see his mistress Tula, a young foul-mouthed woman from England. Tula is wildly attracted to Nick, but wants him to get a circumcision, which he eventually does after being convinced by his friend Angelo, played by Steve Buscemi, who purports to know all kinds of scientific facts about sex and women. Meanwhile, their daughter Baby announces that she's going to marry Freiberg, a neighborhood boy and member of her band, played by Bobby Cannavale. Freiberg refers to himself in the third person, again for some reason. Seriously, this guy is more loony than Gyp Rossetti from Boardwalk Empire.
Do you have any idea who the fuck I am? Do you? Do you?
However, when Kitty finds out about the engagement, she forbids the marriage, fearful that Baby's life will turn out just like her own. After talking with her father, Baby breaks up with Freiberg after she realizes that he has no ambition in life and that their relationship would not work out. While all this is going on, Kitty resumes going to church, where she reconnects with religion and joins the choir. However, still wanting to confront her husband's mistress, she enlists the help of her cousin Beau, who delusionally believes he killed his wife after discovering her cheating. The pair eventually track Tula to the sex shop where she works, where she and Kitty get into a violent fight in public. Shortly after, Nick ends up in the hospital after eating too much licorice. There, his mother confronts him about his behavior. She tells him that he's following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather, both of whom were unfaithful and are now remembered as whoremongers. Feeling ashamed about his behavior, Nick breaks up with Tula. He does this in a pretty Tony Soprano way.
No!
Nah, just kidding. This is just another surreal sequence. However, Tula is heartbroken to be dumped by Nick, who says he's going back with his wife. It reminds me of Tony and Valentina, who was also a pretty salacious woman.
I'm going back to my wife.
You selfish fuck.
Nick then finds Kitty at her church. He attempts to reconcile with her, but she refuses to forgive him for the affair. However, later, Nick gets into a fight with a neighbor for piling snow on their lawn. The younger neighbor brutally beats Nick, almost killing him before Kitty and his family come to his aid. This starts a slight reconciliation between Kitty and Nick. However, not long after, Nick is diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Distraught, he goes to Kitty's priest and confesses to the affair and his wrongful treatment of his wife. Kitty then agrees to care for him while he dies. As his condition deteriorates, Nick is hospitalized. One night, Kitty comes to visit him, and Nick composes a poem expressing his love for her and gratitude for their life together. At the end of the film, Nick dies, leaving a conflicted Kitty to reconcile her feelings for him while contemplating her own future. Like I said before, the movie is weird. It's artistic, I'll give it that, with very stylized and surreal sequences. Given the connection to the Coen brothers, and of course John Turturro directing, it reminds me a little bit of The Big Lebowski, with its slightly off-kilter tone.
Yeah, well, that's just like, your opinion, man.
This isn't really a movie you watch for plot or character. Like, Ada Turturro plays Nick and Kitty's adopted daughter, but the story behind it, or why she's so weird and pathetic, is never really expanded upon. Again, maybe she's just channeling Janice. The musical numbers are also pretty strange. There's no original music in this movie. Instead, they sing already existing pop songs, and for the most part, they lip sing while the music plays over the scene. It's what's called a jukebox musical, which is apparently a legitimate style. Now, the songs they choose are bangers, no doubt about it. But given the fact that they aren't really singing themselves either, it makes it feel more like a dream sequence than an actual musical number. More on that later. Now, let's talk about the soprano element. Calling this movie a Sopranos musical is not clickbait. Well, I mean, I am doing it for the clicks, but there really are some obvious connections to The Sopranos. Not only the fact that it stars James Gandolfini, Ada Turturro, and Steve Buscemi. No, that's only the beginning. There are a number of plot elements that are also very similar to the show. Kitty doesn't want her daughter to get married and end up just like her. This is the same reaction Carmela had to the news that Meadow was getting married.
She's so young.
Same age we were. Wasn't all bad.
Nick's mistress wants him to get a circumcision, to which he's opposed, the same way Carmela wanted Tony to get a vasectomy.
If you're gonna keep doing what you do, then at the very least I want you to get a vasectomy.
You want me to do what?
The fact that Nick goes for a woman with the same hair color as his wife is similar to the connection that Melfi drew between all the dark-haired women Tony goes after and his mother.
I think we should discuss what attracted you to Gloria in the first place.
Oh, we've been through that already.
And Irina before her.
When Nick is in the hospital, Angelo brings him a box of what appears to be a Whitman sampler chocolates. Throughout the show, whenever someone was in the hospital, they would bring a Whitman sampler, though this may just be an East Coast thing, I don't know.
I brought him some Whitmans.
Finally, there's this line about animals.
I don't like animals. I don't like cats. I don't like dogs. I don't like birds. I don't like fish. I'm like my mother.
Sound familiar? Like I mentioned before, this movie was filmed in between seasons 5 and 6 of The Sopranos. James Gandolfini was getting tired of playing Tony by this point, so it makes sense that he wanted a new small project to work on during the break. Given the close timing, I can't help but wonder if they intentionally put some Sopranos references into this movie, given that they knew people would draw a connection because of the casting. Also, the Sopranos connections and the surreal tone make this movie feel like one of the long dream sequences from the show. Again, I'm not sure if they were intentionally going for a similar vibe, but it really does feel like the musical version of the test dream. Like I said before though, I'm not theorizing that this film is some secret part of the Sopranos universe. It was just an odd film pointed out to me by one of my viewers, and now I'm pointing it out to you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more vaguely related Sopranos content coming soon. Lonely is a man without patrons. Obs Racing Media, Daz J-Kit, Sam Cedarland, Celery Man, Jenna Marie Johnson, Brad Smith Studios, Uncle Mike, Shane Boyce, and Matt Joyce.